Western Spring Television. Ours it is.
Today is the 22nd day in the month of August 2024. Welcome to Morning Spring. And yes, it's a new day, a beautiful one at that. A day to make an impact, a day to make a change in whatever you do. And definitely my name is Tomilola Daniel, and I welcome you to the show, the program where we give you what's trending, what's happening politically around us in the country. Yes, we give you insightful analysis, we give you reviews, we give you comment, and yes, we bring in brilliant guests on the show to talk about most of what's happening in the country. And yes, you know I won't be doing this alone. Today we have, what's a snail without its shell? And yes, what is Morning Spring without Femi Ojo? Good morning, Femi.
Interesting. What a hype.
Yes.
Even Boss the hype man will not do more than this. By the way, thank you very much. How do you do?
I'm very well.
Very well, thank you, Tommy
Yeah.
Lola. It's good to know that you are there. And, you know, Tommy talked about making a change, and then we're talking about positive change, and that is exactly what we do here on the program, having conversations that has to do with the betterment of you, the good people, and this great nation of Nigeria. Femi Ojo definitely is my name, and on the program we know, you already know that we look at the headlines from our major dailies, and at the other side of that, we then get talking. And Tommy Lola talking about what has been happening. It's a fact now that there is disruption in the petrol, distribution in the country. You know, many persons have blamed it on logistics, and you know it sounds easy because that's what you usually hear. Oh, whatever is happening, we clear off in the next few days. It's just logistic issues, and the NNPC will come out with his own, fair share of narrative, and then IPMAN as well. IPMAN is the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria that spoke, on the matter. I think I got a hang of what they said, talking about the PRO, Public Relations Officer of IPMAN, that's Chief Chinedu Ukadike. Is said that is about logistics, about taking off of the product from the depot, and the logistics. And he even talked about the north, that, excuse me, it's raining season now. And so trucks might have issues flying the road to get to the north. And many persons are saying, hey, excuse you, this is 2024. If the destruction in what we are seeing that are resulted in scarcity will be blamed on rain, lightning, and thunder. Excuse you, we are not in 1986. This is 2024. And he went ahead to say that independent marketers are still sourcing the product at a higher rate. Something caught my fancy, my attention, by the way. And I think I saw it where it said that private depots, giving the product, that's PMS, at 780 naira per liter. Marketers are going to private depot instead of the NNPC to source for petrol at 780 naira. That's the price in which they are buying it from the depot instead of the 595 naira per liter. So you compare 780 naira to 595 per liter, almost 190 naira or thereabout from the takeoff point. So, from the takeoff point to them putting it in the trucks, the driver, the logistics, the personnel cost, that truck from that point, lifting it to the filling station, they will have to put the overhead cost and everything. So definitely, you don't expect somebody that bought the product at the depot for 780 naira to come and sell it the same 780 naira per liter. At least you will be seeing around 800 or 850, and that is what we are saying, according to IPMAN. And this is really disrupting the situation in Lagos, in Ogun State, in Osun State. Whatever, you pay coming to work every day, say last week or last 2 weeks, you know what you are paying today for you to get to work. And it's part of things that make the finance of people shrink. and causes more pain on the people. And if there is one thing that Nigeria should not be grappling with now, with everything happening, with inflation, hyperinflation, we shouldn't be adding the pain of scarcity to this one as well. And this is where we have found ourselves, and Nigerians are saying, is there anything more that Nigerians have to suffer that they have not suffered at all? And are they meant to suffer this? Is this part of the renewed hope agenda? Because yes, you might not be able to blame it on the president, but then whatever good is happening or whatever bad is happening,
still going to the president.
Exactly. And that is where we are right now. And the president, the NNPCL, the petroleum ministers of state, Aniki Lokobiri, in fact, Tinubu himself, the president, is the minister of petroleum. That was the same thing during the administration of Muhammadu Buhari, in which he was the minister of petroleum. We should do something. Either is logistics, either is personnel, either is sabotage, either is somebody that is dropping the ball of the system. Nigerians don't deserve to be grappling again with the issue of scarcity. And then you hear, be patient, everything will clear off. And is a law. The Ipman, the PRO, further said in that particular release that some of the queues you are seeing, in Nigeria, we have a way of coining words. We call them the queues, ghost queues. Ghost queues. Okay. And so he went for that to say that it means that some of those things are not really there, that you saw the queues in the morning, and by afternoon or evening, the queues are not there. In Nigeria, the coinage of our words, ghost queue, it's a law. So what does that mean? The question is, was there a queue? Is there a queue at any point? Even if it clears off at some point, there is still queue, as they say. And this is part of what you're seeing at this time. We go straight now to the headlines, at this time. I will take this short break. When we come back, the papers are in. Issues on petroleum, issues about security, policy, governance, everything you need to know just right about now. Stay with us. All right, punching it straight away from the front page of The Punch for today. The front page of The Punch has a very, very detailed and busy front page. I took it off this way. PDP chair, Wike tackle Clark as anti-Fubara plot thickens. PDP chair, Wike tackle Clark as anti-Fubara plot thickens. And you have a couple of riders there. Pro-Fubara, Wike assemblies hold parallel sessions. Rumbling, the NWC over Rivers governor. I take that again. Pro-Fubara, Wike assemblies hold parallel sessions. Rumble in NWC over Rivers governor. And I won't quit PDP, says Wike as Ikimi heads disciplinary panel on ex-governors' anti-party cases. Okay, is the bubble about to burst right now, especially with the stance of the former governor, two-time governor of Rivers State, who is currently the minister in charge of the FCT, Nyesom Wike, who still, as it stands, is of the PDP because he hasn't renounced his membership, and of course he's working, under an EPC government. Some will say that's not the issue, but his stance was known, especially during the presidential election, in which he worked for the opposition, and he wasn't shying away from it. A couple of them, including a serving governor of your state, Governor Seyi Makinde. So there is a disciplinary committee in place now to see to the activities of Wike and others. Will they be able to hold him accountable for his deeds? Okay. Moving on, and of course, just below that, you have the picture of some men in power, and that has to do with Coordinator, National Defense College Wives Association, Mrs. Rhoda Olotu, Senator Gbenga Daniel, President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, Rear Admiral O.M. Olotu, and Senator Dickett Plang and others during the inauguration of the National Defense College Officers Mess by Akpabio in Abuja on Wednesday. All right. Away from that, Togo, Benin, owe Nigeria $14 million for electricity. Togo and Benin owe Nigeria $14 million for electricity. That's coming from the Regulatory Commission, NERC. So, Togo and Benin, you gotta pay our money. You know, there's one song like that. Yeah, oh, you know, $14 million. That's a lot of money. They should pay up. And e-hailing drivers reject fare slash threatening strike. E-hailing drivers reject fare slash threatening strike. You know them, those ones who does cab, in modern way, without really mentioning their name. Federal government working to avert impending ASU strike. Ministry. Okay. How come is when strike is on or the notice is given, that's when it's even early now. I think it's unprecedented for notice of strike to be given, maybe 21 days notice, and you see immediately is given for the ministry to come out and address it. I think is a new one, because most of the times people in charge just look away to few days before that strike action, and you begin to see all kind of meetings. Dangote refinery reduces crude import from U.S. Report. Okay. Government plans fresh $100 billion investment. 100 billion investment. In what way? Fingers crossed. And the federal government hikes passport fees to 50,000 naira and 100,000 naira. Okay, possibly for people that haven't done theirs. Okay, I might have to have a rethink. Federal government hikes passport fees to 50,000 naira and 100,000 naira, maybe based on booklets. Maybe, just maybe. And of course, you have the picture of Tunji Ojo there, the minister in charge of Interior. And APC receives PDP, LPA, DC defectors in Edo. Still in Edo governorship poll, Obaseki approves payment of local government pensioners' gratuities. Interesting one there. That'll be all from the front page of the Punch.
All right, moving to the Nation newspaper for this morning. Fresh inflow triples foreign investors' portfolios to 598 billion naira. 220 illegal refineries found in 1 week. Okay, why airports are performing below capacity? And that is coming from FAN. A minister plans for national youth dialogue. And related to the story you read earlier regarding the international passport, passport fees rise to 100,000 naira and 50,000 naira. So let me give you a little details of the story. Nigerians to pay more for international passport. Yesterday, Nigerian Immigration Service, NIS, so the new fee regime, which will take effect on September 1st, please take note of that, will not affect those applying for the travel document outside the country. It said the change in fee was done so to maintain the quality and integrity of the Nigerian passport. A statement by NIS spokesman Kenneth Udo, a deputy comptroller of immigration, said based on the review, 32-page passport booklets. Okay, I think it's more about the booklet like you mentioned. So passport fees rise to 100,000 naira to 50,000 naira. Moving away from that, plot to remove Damagum deepens, PDP crisis. And still on the Nation newspaper, why appeal court dismissed Edo Assembly's appeal against Shaibu's reinstatement. And yes, we'll be giving you more details of that later on in the course of the show. And total transactions at the NGX rose from 2.15 trillion naira to 3.1 trillion naira in 1 year. And that's all on the Nation newspaper.
All right, from the Nation newspaper, we move to the Vanguard. The Vanguard newspaper is next, and it has boldly written, petrol scarcity worsens as marketers load at 718 naira per litre. Petrol scarcity worsens as marketers load at 780 naira per litre. I said it earlier, from 595 to 780 naira. You already know. Even from the depot, the price has skyrocketed. And Rider says transport fares rise by over 200%. Transporters lament impact on business. Nigeria becoming failed state. Pengasan. That's a very strong statement there. Nigeria becoming failed state. Okay, that's Pengasan talking there. And just below that, at Democratic Convention in US, at Democratic Convention in US, you have the picture of, some Nigerian eminent man, former Vice President, Yemi Oshibajo. In fact, let me take it this way. Chris Formio, Special Advisor on Africa to US President, and former Vice President of Nigeria, Professor Yemi Oshibajo, and Mr. Peter Obi at the National Democratic Institute International Leaders Forum and the Democratic Convention in Chicago, the United States of America. Don't forget, I think the convention of the Democrats is holding from 18th to 22, I think it ends today. And at the side of that, there is the National Democratic Institute International Leaders Forum that has this gentleman, Peter Obi from Nigeria, the presidential candidate of the Labour Party in the last election, and former Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Professor Oluyemi Oshibajo. Moving on. Fake certificate. Uganda, Kenya, right jam. Demand students verification. Uganda, Kenya, right jam. Demand students verification on the issue of the fake certificate. I think like a year ago, thereabout, there was this investigative journalist who did a work, on the kind of certificates that are being purchased, from every nook and cranny, especially from some countries in Africa who appear to be doing have some universities, purported universities, who gave people some course that they could round off a whole degree in possibly 4 weeks or 8 weeks. And then those kind of people will come to Nigeria. When you studied abroad, you have the opportunity, in as much as still under 30, to come to Nigeria and say you want to go for NYSC. So imagine somebody who allegedly got a degree in 8 weeks or, at best 3 months old kind of degree, parading it as an authentic degree and then bringing it to Nigeria. And then the person locks on to do whatever he needs to do, and then is mobilized or she's mobilized by the NYSC, and you find yourself at the orientation camp, in the same space with people who have gone to school for 4 years, 5 years, some 6 years, depending on, what ASU has done to them or strike action. And I think the eyebrow was raised at that time, and I just had to say, okay, you hold on with the kind of certificates that has been brought from these nations. But it's the same nations now that are saying, with what we are seeing, they are now writing, that's Uganda and Kenya, they are writing JAMB to demand student verification. Before we can admit them, JAMB, please verify if actually these people have gone through some, normal, ordinary, what they call it now, the SSC certificate, and done JAMB, attempted JAMB before they come to our nation. And he speaks about the quality of the things that we do around here, second guessing our education, our institution. I'm sure it's not the best thing at all. Moving on, federal government finally criminalizes vandalism of telecom facilities in New Gazette. So it is a crime right now if anybody will go around and vandalize telecom, facilities, the mast, the wires, the cables, the engines, the generator that has to do with telecom, facility, and it has been gazetted. So don't say you are not aware. Now you do. Don't go. And by the way, even if it's not gazetted, it's anti-omoluabi, if I may use that, anti-virtue for you to go around, vandalizing and stealing. It's a crime already now. Nigeria made Dangote a colossus. It must now handle him wisely. Okay, that's an editorial there. And on the sporting scene, on the front page of the Vanguard, 2024 Paralympic Games. Sport Minister dangles 24 million naira cash reward for gold medalist. This has to do with the Paralympic. You know, after every Olympics, the Paralympic Games kickstarts, and the Sport Minister is dangling 24 million naira. Win a gold medal, and you have 24 million naira to yourself. I think that's quite an incentive, by the way. And here, police invitation to Ajero. More critical unions give strike notices. I think this is boomeranging already, as the US-based union petitions Nigerian embassy. And here, top strip, food inflation reducing. We will reduce it further. Finance Minister.
Hopefully.
Our Minister,
Can't
please
wait.
go ahead. Whatever you can do to reduce. But the question is, does it lie in their power to do that? Well, many persons say maybe it does. Whenever the policies are right, maybe there's a way it has to do with the price. So whatever it needs to do, now at this point, Tomilo, Nigerians don't care. Just whatever you need to do,
whatever you have to
just
do,
do
just do it.
so that Nigerians can breathe. And bad governance. CSOs berate federal government over prolonged detention of protesters without charges. I think that's one thing that we talked about yesterday, possibly on this program. If there are proofs that these protesters have done something untoward, please charge them to court. If there are no proofs, charge them to court, let them have their day. And if you know there is nothing against them, release them and let them go. Protest is not a crime, by the way. But if you have seen that they have done something untoward, let them have their day in court. Let them be able to defend themselves, not just keeping them, you know, to be languishing somewhere just because they protested. Federal government increases international passport fees. Of course, the Minister of the Interior has told me that, you know, 50,000 naira for a particular booklet and 100,000 naira for another particular booklet. So, all the best. And lastly, from the front page of the Vanguard, police invitation to Ajero. More critical unions give strike notices. And just on the humor part, Mr. and Mrs. And this is Mr. saying, I've warned him severally not to maltreat his wife. Yesterday, he saw a man admiring and chatting up the woman through their window. And then Mrs. replies, is that not what football enthusiasts call transfer window? Interesting. That will be all from the front page of the Vanguard.
All right, moving to the Daily Trust newspaper for this morning. Kano Anti-Graft Agency probes 660 million naira freshwater contract scam. Okay, federal government targets 100 billion naira dollars. Federal government targets $100 billion investment, 2 million jobs from creative economy. And yes, we can't wait for that. We have a lot of unemployed youth out there. And we feel that creating more jobs will be beneficial to all of everyone in the country.
Right.
A new Northern Group to meet leaders over region's problems. Okay. Airstrikes killed 5 Boko Haram commanders in Borno. That is coming from NAF. Okay. Terrorists slay many miners in Niger. 3 soldiers, 15 bandits die in Plateau raid. And that's a sad one. PDP crisis. If I open up, it won't be pleasant. That is coming from Damagom. And I think there's a lot happening with PDP. Looking at Edo State, Obaseki and the
Shaibu.
like. Shaibu, yes. Yeah. And
Fubara in Rivers.
Yes, in Rivers. Okay, Ribadu, El-Rufai, Tambuwal meet at Atiku's residence in Abuja. Federal government hikes passport fees. Abducted Sokoto district head dies in captivity, and that is another result of insecurity and some of the issues we face in Nigeria, kidnapping, banditry. And yes, a lot of people have lost their lives due to this, and we hope that one day we won't have any issues of kidnapping, banditry, abductions. You traveled safely. Like, you won't have it in your mind. Oh, some people don't even want to go to the northern side of the country due to insecurity. Yeah. So,
and it's not just about the north, by the way. The moment you get out of your house, you need a special grace to cover you, especially when you are going on Nigerian highway.
Definitely.
Although it's prevalent more in the north.
In the north, yeah.
And then some eastern part of the country, but then you need, a spiritual covering if actually you believe in such.
All right, that's all on Daily Trust for this morning.
All right, trusting that Tomilola, who has just delivered from what the Daily Trust has for us, and it is quite instructive. By the way, that's what you have said. That hopefully, even we on this program will, be having this program, and hopefully someday, just like you have said, and I'm saying a big amen to that. But then some will tell you it doesn't just answer to prayers and amen and declaration alone. People in church must take action. We must show that we are ruthless to these bandits, these criminals. There is no space to consider them, to give them the platitude, and then to be lenient, and then to see some of us
we see some
to be
of them
doing, a bit of apology for them. Maybe you should consider them and forgive them. A criminal is a criminal. They have caused pains. They are still causing pains, even to the men in uniform. They keep overrunning some military formations, and these are criminals that some people will still be telling you should give amnesty to. You should forgive them. They have a change of idea, a change of orientation. I'm not sure. Someone might want to say, I'm a Christian. I should forgive. Yes, I'm a Christian.
Of course.
I will forgive you, but you will have your time. With the law, forgiveness is different from the law. Let the law take its place, because you can't be intentionally causing pain to people. And Nigeria, as a country, keep budgeting, voting money for protection, but it seems it's not showing. It seems we have been overwhelmed and overrun by these bandits and criminals. And this is a nation, that we have to protect with everything that we have, not just opening. Just like I said, we hope there will be a day, like in a week, we'll open the pages of our newspaper and we'll get to see some of these things. It will be a happy moment for us, because this is not the type of news that anybody wants to wake up to. But it is the reality, and we must let the people know the reality that we have. And lastly, on the front page of The Guardian newspaper is my next point of call. The Guardian: echoes of cabinet reshuffle trail minister's performance a year after. Again, echoes of cabinet reshuffle trail minister's performance a year after. Of course, very instructive picture you have here of an image of somebody, doffing the hat of something that looks like the Emiloko cap, and let's just call it maybe somebody that looks like the president in a signature cap, by the way. And of course, you could see a particular shelf or cupboard, and that is infested, that is not looking well. And there is the tag of the building the nation, building the nation. And you have the economy. In fact, on top of the economy, you have a rat on the economy.
Some rats.
And rats, by the way. And of course, the security and health underneath, oil and gas, and then the power. In fact, it's on that power, between the power and the oil and gas sector is where you have the saw of the president. He's the one holding the saw, and his other hand, he's holding a hammer, and just after him, or just behind him rather, you see the inscription that this is Abuja. And you could see the face of the man there, possibly in despair, in confusion, sweating, looking like whatever he's building is falling apart, is being infested by rats. Things are not working. And just below, just behind that particular shelf or cupboard, you have some more rats, and then the tag of corruption. That means the corruption are the rats.
And the corruption is a red tag. That shows a lot.
And it signifies the rats that's eaten off. The economy, eating off the health sector, and you have the flag of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. It's quite descriptive, according to The Guardian, of what is really happening. Echoes of cabinet reshuffle trail minister's performance a year after the ministers have been given, a matching order, when they were to come in. If you are not performing, you'll be booted out. If you are trying, you'll be told to sit tight. And if you are doing well, you continue. But a year after, who is taking the note right now? Just below that, experts urge diplomacy as Chinese firm lists country's assets for sales. Okay, expert urge diplomacy as Chinese firm lists country's assets for sale. This same Chinese firm, we thought there is an understanding already on this matter, because if a Chinese company will go and sell
a country's asset,
Asset in this case, you are talking about some airplanes. Oh, interesting. That's not a good thing to do. So people are saying, let diplomacy, take center stage here. Nigeria to begin revocation of dormant oil well licenses. If it's dormant, Nigeria is considering revoking it. Wike Damagum defends standpoints as PDP rivers crisis pressure. And it's interesting to know, by the way, Tomelona, that the PDP acting chairman, Damagum, is saying, you people should not try me. If you push me and I'm being pushed, I think he said that yesterday, if I open my mouth,
it won't be pleasant.
It won't be pleasant. Things will fall apart. And I just say, excuse you. You think we care about you and whatever you are doing. And if you want to open your mouth, Oga, open your mouth. If you want to be pleasant, that's your business. Nigeria should just prosper. That's what concerns the people.
I feel that Nigerians have heard a lot that whatever he has to say won't even move us.
Than politicians, that's it. Even the ones in power, possibly, there was a time in this country that a couple of governors said they were going to talk about the people that are sponsoring terrorism. I think former Zamfara state governor said it. Former Imo state governor, or this current one, a governor in the east said it and said, I'm going to name the people behind this banditry and this thing that we are saying. Till now, your guess is as good as mine. So if Mr. Damagun want to talk, all the best. You have the microphone. There are many podcasts that I can attend. If Morning Spring is here, you have the opportunity to air your view as well. Stakeholders set agenda for Kekereekun, the new CJN. And, he has, Justice Kekereekun has been, tipped to succeed. Justice Olukaude Ariwola. All the best to her. Arabambi alleges plot by Jero to spark civil unrest. And Tinubu has mortgaged Nigeria's future to family and friends, says Atiku, that's former vice president, and a PDP chieftain, Atiku Abubakar. And 12 times ahead, a subsidy shaves 7.7 trillion naira of FAC allocations. Again, 12 times ahead, a subsidy shaves 7.7 trillion naira of FAC allocations. Or subsidy, the question is, who is paying? Subsidy is gone, is what President Tinubu told us. And his handlers have said repeatedly, no more payment of subsidy. But I think the NNPCL CFO, Chief Financial Officer, earlier in the week, during the presentation of the 2023 audited financial report, said there is no more subsidy. We have not paid subsidy for 9 months. And in fact, no marketer has collected subsidy for us. What happened is, listen, you will be interested. He said what happened is, whenever fuel is being imported into the country, the government tells them to sell it at a reduced price. So when you import a product and the government tells you not to sell it at that same price, sell it at a reduced price, the question is, if you are reducing, then who is paying? It's pure economy.
Yeah.
If I have a product that's supposed to be sold for 10 naira, I've imported it, and you as government tells me to sell it at a reduced price of 7 naira, and I agree with you, the remaining 3 naira, who is paying? And he says, so the remaining is just the shortfall. So it's no more subsidy, it's shortfall. Because if the government is the one taking care of that particular shortfall, so what is it called? Subsidy somewhere. But he says it's not subsidy, it's your shortfall. Interesting days are ahead in Nigeria. And until we stop deceiving ourselves, self-deceit, I think the nation might not make a headway. But then, I think that's a good place to leave it on this particular segment for this morning. Subsidy. Now, maybe, I talked about coinage of words in Nigeria. Maybe there is a new synonym in town. Subsidy, and then you can tell your younger ones. Another word for subsidy is what? Shortfall. Interesting days. We take this quick break right now. When we come back, you speak to issues. A lot is happening, especially around the country, and trust us to stay on this matter and give it to you the way it's supposed to be done. Speaking truth to power and staying on the fact. Authentic information. That's what we do here on Morning Spring, here at Western Spring Television. Chris Play broadcasting live on Channel 190, Star Times, DTT, and also on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. Stay with us.